on the sprawling piece of land in Murang'a County occupied by multinational firm Kakuzi, a group of more than 300 suspected land cartels have occupied an over 22-acre parcel and set up camp, despite a court ordering their removal. Activities by the intruders have caused environmental degradation on over 200 hectares of land and caused Kakuzi an estimated loss of 100 million shillings. And TV's senior reporter Ngina Kirori digs more into the intrigues of this case and the suspected land cartel's possible relation to a farm in New Zealand.
As close as possible to that.
As Geoffrey, not his real name, started out his day at work at Kakuzi on the 16th of July 2025, the last thing on his mind was that he would be attacked by a group of men wielding crude weapons at Kakuzi Farm, located along the Nyeri-Nairobi Highway in Murang'a County. The reason behind the assault is traced back to May 2025, when this evergreen spread became the center of contention between Kakuzi and a group of men who moved into the over 22 acres of property. On this said day, Geoffrey was asked to take a team from the Murang'a County Lands Office to the parcel of land in question. When they got there, they were met with a hostile reception from the group.
So one of the ringleaders was actually standing next to me, on this side. So he said, "Can you leave?" Before I could even leave, he punched me here. And of course he had a long stick, which looked like a club, that tracked me here. So I had to run for my dear life.
Another team member tells us that this was not the first time the men visited the area.
So this was the second time they were now coming, and they were now ready to invade that piece of land.
People who are armed with crude weapons should not be allowed to roam freely on anybody's property.
In tracing the source behind this incident, lines and questions are drawn to the history behind various land tussles between Kakuzi and the local community. I asked the managing director if this could in any way be the source of the current situation.
This isn't a local community issue. These are people from far afield who've got economic resources. There's 8 lorries a day coming, loading up with forestry products, loading up with stone and taking them out off the property.
To get a closer look at the situation, we decided to visit the area in question. However, from the onset, the threat of insecurity was evident. With that challenge presented to us, we decided to deploy aerial footage and observe what exactly is happening in the plot of land. This is as close as we've been able to get to Kitwamba area, where in the background I can actually hear the sound of chainsaws hacking away at the trees, something we've also been able to confirm through the aerial footage. The security risks are so much so that we've actually had to have security come here and act as an extra shield against the armed men who have made this part of their daily ritual.
There is a public road that crosses that portion of land, and that is B67. That road is from Ndula all the way to the tarmac that leads to Idanga. And that is the public road that the individuals used and are using to date to access that area.
From the aerial footage, we count men and women by the dozens. But perhaps the biggest indication of the large-scale operation taking place is the bikes we spot speeding away with stacks of wood in tow. A closer look reveals more activities taking place, including quarrying and burning of charcoal.
So for the last 20 years, we've been embarking on a project of biodiversity and enhancing the ecosystem in that area. It's been destroyed now in 2 months. 200 hectares of commercial forestry, bush has been burnt, quarries have been put in place, and all of this with the existence of court orders prohibiting it from happening.
We see further evidence of the scale of the operation through these lorries and these housing structures. But who are these individuals and who sent them here? We managed to track down the contacts of one of the men, only identified as Stanley Livondo, to get their right of reply.
Vile sisi tunajua hiyo shamba si ya Kakuzi. Sisi tumezaliwa huko na unaona shamba zao zote wamefence na tuko na history ya hiyo shamba. Yes, najua walipeleka mambo kotini, tuta-explain kwa koti.
Also, nyinyi ndio unasimamia watu wenye wako huko sasa nini?
Hapana, mimi nikuitwa nimeitwa hapo.
Mumeitwa na nani?
Kama mwenye kijiji, kama wenye kijiji.
Okay.
Kama hao sasa unajua ni mavijana wanajaribu kujitafutia tu, unaona vile hasa hakuna. So hakuna mtu ameongoza ama nini. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo.
They deny the allegations of being affiliated to the government, but did not respond to where the materials are being ferried to. However, through the aerial footage, we're able to get a lead on just where these materials are being ferried to through this registration number plate, KBP 472B. Using open source intelligence, we're able to establish that the vehicle in question is registered to Moriah Company Limited. A further search points to the possibility of it being this Moriah Company Limited, located in New Zealand. It is a company that deals in steel making, which might seem like a mismatch at first, until one digs into some of the ingredients that can create steel. Coal, one of the materials we saw being generated and transported out of the parcel of land. With this in mind, we reach out to Moriah Company Limited to get their response to the matter. However, they did not respond by the time of running this report.
They are totally about 300. So, our common knowledge tells us that those people cannot be there without maybe somebody having sent them there. And because we are not handling matters of land, that is a civil matter. That's why we'll wait for the final directive from IG.
We reached out to the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, in Muranga, as the mandate to license quarrying activities falls under their jurisdiction. They declined to speak to us on camera, but said they believe the activities being conducted by the group of men are illegal and thus are not licensed. We then reached out to the Kenya Forest Service County Conservator in Muranga County to understand the process of licensing tree felling in the area.
If something is illegal, of course, the person would have either the certificate of origin and also the confirmation from the area chief. And then if there is any illegal activities, that now is a criminal case. If somebody is felling trees on farm, either in the gazetted or outside gazetted farms without the permit or authority, now that is a criminal case.
Kakuzi has reported the matter to the police. There are several OB numbers regarding land invasion, OB numbers on assault, and OB numbers on destruction of property. And I'm told that the police only came once, and after they were withdrawn, no more police have been seen on that side.
On top of reporting the assault case to the police, Kakuzi filed a matter in court, seeking orders to stop the activities by the men on the parcels of land, which they were granted on 22nd of July, 2025. However, when we visited the land, the group was still occupying it. The orders were meant to be enforced by the police.
Who is doing that?
To find out why this did not happen, we reached out to Benjamin Kimwele, who at the time was the Muranga Police County Commander.
And our procedure for such cases, we advise for the officers to have a meeting with the Sub-County Security Committee to address the matter, which was done by the OSBND. And now the letter has been brought to us.
While Kimwele states that they did not get involved in the case due to it being a lands matter, I point out that the assault case is a criminal matter which falls under the jurisdiction of the police.
It is a report that was made at Idhanga police station, and the OSPD there went to determine the extent of that destruction. It was found that there are people on the field who are doing some work. So, because we had no free information of who owned the land, the OSPD could do nothing.
But 3 days after we interviewed Kimwele, he was transferred to Nairobi headquarters. He has been replaced with Clinton Kimayo, the former deputy head of the Reke unit. Among the piles on Kimayo's in-tray are land conflicts and land invasions, which have become frequent in Murang'a County.
We house about 1,000 people at Kakuzi, about 4,000 people if you take dependents as well. And they crisscross this piece of property on a daily basis. Children, women collecting firewood. Now, when you've got criminal gangs occupying a piece of land, it puts people's safety at risk.
In observing the economic angle of the losses experienced by Kakuzi during the occupation by the violent and armed individuals,
we're probably looking in the region of between 50 and 100 million so far. At the end of the day, investor confidence is key. We've got 1,400 shareholders, from some big ones to some very, very small ones. And we've got a very, very active strategy for developing the company. If the rule of law isn't preserved, this isn't just about some trees being harvested. This is about the sanctity of title. And this affects all Kenyans. If the sanctity of title isn't preserved, then where are we going?
Beyond the tussle between the two parties, the ultimate victim is the environment, which bears the scars the beating that the ecosystem here has taken, which in turn affects the surrounding communities. Ngena Kirori, NTV.
Well, earlier today, the National Police Service posted a statement in relation to this case with the regional police commander there visiting the Kakuzi farm. And the statement there says that the regional police commander for the central region, Mr. Samuel Ndanyi, accompanied by the regional criminal investigation officer Abraham Mugambi, visited the Kakuzi PLC farms in Murang'a County. During the visit, they assessed the general security situation, reviewed the operations progress, and held a consultative meeting with the farm's management. The police commander then went ahead to make various recommendations of strengthening security, including improved teamwork and recommendation. The RPC also commended officers for their dedication, encouraging them to sustain the operation and urging them to intensify patrols to flush out the gangs. The National Police Service assures the public of its steadfast commitment to protecting the lives and property of all Kenyans, residents as well as visitors, and reminds everyone to abide by the law. There is a statement by the National Police Service earlier today. It is important to note, however, that no one has been arrested in connection with this case.